Ayiti, are Afro-descendant people. They were colonized by the French. They lost their mother tongue, lost their culture. They are Afro-descendant people. And currently the world and this hemisphere has its eyes on the island of Haiti and the Haitian people. And Mr. Phillips, would you respond to CARICOM's position and activity toward the support of the people of Haiti?
Thank you very much. Haiti is a foreign affairs issue within CARICOM, so I'm not empowered to speak on the Prime Minister's behalf. I do know they had a team of eminent persons who were engaged with the Haitians for quite a while. And as you said, Haiti is very critical to the Afro-descendant nation. It is the largest country in CARICOM, probably with about 70% of the population. I think CARICOM is trying to go to Haiti with clean hands in a very dirty historical situation that started since 1804. I think if you read the book, America Has a Lot to Pay to Haiti, written by Roger Prasad, where you read about the Louisiana Purchase, you'll see that Haiti is very instrumental in America being a land that starts in the Atlantic and ends in the Pacific. It may have more oil than Venezuela. It has copper, it has gold, it has other assets. And so what we're seeing since 1804 is Western domination of Haiti, because they didn't want Haiti to succeed because it was the first Black Republic and it defeated the British and others. As a matter of fact, almost 500,000 Africans died to free Haiti. So it's U.S. strategy that actually is being put in front of the table with the Transitional Council. CARICOM is just a facilitator, but it's really, we have to be honest about this. This is U.S. policy. They're funding it. Many of the citizens of Guyana and Caribbean do not agree with the policy. We have a transitional council which has its own internal problems based on personality and power. And what Guyana and Haiti and people of the Caribbean need to do, including our prime ministers, is to ensure that Haiti is on a path of independence in the true sense. I don't understand personally the philosophy of not speaking to barbecue because he is armed and was armed. One of the things that is not on the table. So I have questions, I empathize. Haiti should be a priority. We saw what happened to Aristide when he asked for reparations. He was ousted. We saw what happened with Daddy Doc and Baby Doc, which were supported by America to keep Haiti under their guide. So we have to hope that CARICOM has their own foreign policy, and that goal should be that Haiti is managed and ruled by Haitians with a Haitian philosophy that started in 1804. So I wish I could have spoken on behalf of the prime ministers. I don't have that privilege or authority. I have my own personal feelings, and I think Haiti, even within CARICOM, we have policies that are different that need to be reconciled because there are brothers and sisters, and without Haiti, Haiti is a symbol of freedom and resistance and of Afro-descendant power. And so I need a permanent forum, supposedly a special committee on Haiti. And I just want to, in closing, add that one of the things that was operations is that Africa needs a seat in the permanent in the Security Council. We don't. We need to have one of those 5 seats. That has to be part of what we look for also in the second international. So that's all I can offer. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Phillips. Thank you for giving our audience. We have cited there's been over 80 participants that we see that have gone in and note that many of our participants have signed on from around the world, and they understand, and we understand that there's a relationship between reparations for Afro-descendant people, and that the people of Haiti are part of that. And I just wanted to thank you again for that, the commentary. I hope it satisfies our guests' interest. If not, I'm sure there'll be more dialogue in the future.
Thank you. Good day. I'm at the Atlanta airport on my way to Ghana for the meeting between the African Union and CARICOM, along with civil society, sponsored by the president of Ghana, who's been very vocal on this issue. As you know, CARICOM has a 10-point plan that was created 10 years ago. And that 10-point plan spoke about an apology. It spoke about an indigenous development program, because the CARICOM initiative deals with native genocide as well as African slavery. It speaks to repatriation, especially the Rastafari community. We're now renaming that resettlement, because resettlement is far more broad than just repatriation. It's about health, education, technology transfer, the right to have technology. It's about debt relief, but more importantly, it's about financial payments. And recently, under the auspices of Patrick Robinson, who is a Jamaican judge who sits on the International Court of Justice, there was an analysis that the monies owed to 31 countries, including the United States, is $107 trillion. And it deals with loss of life, loss of the ability to work, psychological harm, sexual rape, etc., etc. And that has garnered a lot of attention from Europe. But in the Caribbean, we have been pursuing partnerships. Of course, we're a partner with the NARC in the USA, but we've been partnering with the African Union, have been engaging them since September 7, 2 years ago. So there's a lot going on between the heads of states of CARICOM and the heads of states of the African Union. As I mentioned, I'm on my way to a conference and want to engage them, are being barred strategically by this process. And of course, the ICJ also deals with sovereign states, although we're looking at the permanent forum of the United Nations of people of African descent to look for an advisory opinion, etc. But we've been engaging the African Union, and just 2 weeks ago, the African Export Bank had a conference in Guyana, second annual conference, and they've put aside $1.5 to $3 billion for trade between Africa and the Caribbean. Of course, we haven't really engaged the United States, the African Development Bank, but listening to the earlier speakers, it is clear that we have to have a global movement. It is clear that Africa has to be involved. It is clear that the USA has to be involved, the Caribbean has to be involved. And more importantly, or just as importantly, we have a lot of people in the diaspora, in the Netherlands, in England, in France, in Germany, who feel left out of this process. I have been fortunate to be in Holland 3 times this year, working with the Dutch folks, who mainly Surinamese. There are almost 400,000 Surinamese in Holland, and they have formed a Netherlands Reparations Committee that's associated with CARICOM. And in the Caribbean, we still have colonies. We still have Dutch colonies, Curaçao, Aruba, Bonaire. And so while the Dutch Prime Minister apologized on the 19th of December last year, and the King apologized July 1st this year, there's a fundamental problem, because you can't apologize for slavery and still have colonies. And so we're trying to figure out how to deal with this, and I'm part of a group looking at how to approach all the different groups. The monarchies in Europe played important roles. As a matter of fact, for over 270 years, 12 monarchs in Europe, in England, made a lot of money and used their armies to help to capture folks in Africa. And of course, we have the Netherlands. But we also have the church. We also have banks and institutions of that nature. And we also have families who are coming forward to apologize. In August this year, we had the Gladstone family in Guyana. We hosted them. This was the family that was the largest slave owner in the British colonies and received a lot of money, and now they've come forward to apologize. And they are trying to determine the terms and conditions of what they want to pay. And so I'm part of a group looking at how to prevent that, because you can't be a criminal, because it's a crime against humanity. You can't be the judge, and then you can't be the jury to say what it is you're going to give us. And this is a real horrible trend, because just last week, Lloyd's of London reported that after 18 months of a study, they found that they were major providers of insurance to slave ships and slave owners, etc. And they came up with this idea that they're going to pay £12 million to help to improve the people, well, bring more black folks in the UK into the insurance industry. And then they're going to provide £40 million to the American Development Bank and the African Development Bank for something. I don't know what the something is. But here is the danger. They're trying to define what it is they want to pay. And the £12 million is the way we see it, and I'm going to be discussing this in Ghana. That's corporate social responsibility. That's not reparations. What they have done with the 12 million is foolish. It's not reparations. What they're trying to do with the 40 million is to escape paying billions of dollars that they should be paying. So why, instead of giving the African Development Bank and the Caribbean Inter-American Development Bank 40 million pounds, why not sit down with African groups in African countries and open banks that blacks would own, Africans would own, and put 100 million in each and use your balance sheet to support us? That's real reparations, not providing 40 million to international institutions that are not even controlled by us. Same thing with the families. The Gladstones, of course, they're still to decide what they're going to do. The Trevelyan's apologized in Grenada, 143 members, and they're forming a fund. But we have to be careful on who's controlling our narrative. We have to be careful who's deciding what it is they want to pay. We have to be careful on the sums. And more importantly, we can't look at it just from a CARICOM point of view. We have to look at it holistically. For example, when the Dutch apologized in 19th of December last year, there was nothing that came out of the United States. Yet the Dutch owned slaves in New York, New Amsterdam at the time. So we have to start working together collectively, holistically, civil society and governments, so that we don't get picked apart piece by piece by groups who have no interest in providing reparations. Reparations also has to be self-reparations. I'm just cutting this because I don't know how much time I have. We in the African community, we have to start loving each other more. We have to start buying from each other. We have to start going in joint ventures with others. We're not. The church has gotten us so bent out of shape. We're denying our own spirituality. Our children are changing their hairs, whitening their skins, because the church, in a traditional sense, preached about white superiority. It was the Catholic Church in 1452, that passed the Dum Divorces, the first papal bull that encouraged slavery. It basically said, if you're not Christian, we can enslave you and take all of your properties. And today, as a matter of fact, the Church of England apologized, and they put up 100 million pounds. Now, this church has billions of dollars. And what they have done is to have done a study to say that they're going to do entrepreneurship, and they'll help with health, and they'll help with certain other things. But that's not the harm they did. The greatest harm the church did was psychological harm, where we started to unlove ourselves, where we thought our religions were horrible, where we thought that our spiritual people were witch doctors, where when the Chinese prays, they pray to a Chinese person. The Hindus pray, they pray to an Indian person. We whites pray, they pray to a white person. Today when we pray, we're praying to a white God. And yet the Bible itself says God made us in our own image, and we were the first people on earth. So there's a great deal of psychological harm that the church has done. And again, their remedy does not match the harm. They're trying to do entrepreneurship, and they're trying to do a lot of impact investments with us. But we really need the church to decolonize their Bible, to decolonize the language, to start to support our spirituality, our African roots, our faithist roots. Because our ancestors, that's where our ancestors are. Our ancestors weren't Christians or Muslims. That's because the Arab slave trade went on for 13 centuries. The Christian slave trade went on for 4 centuries. So what I'm saying collectively is that we need to sit down and think through these things. Think through how the diaspora becomes stronger. Because in Guyana, we have a state. We have a sovereign state. In Jamaica, we have a sovereign state. In the United States, you do not have a sovereign state that you control. You're a minority in that sovereign state. And so the things they need to do, even HR 40, they don't want to do because there's no interest. But coming back to a point I was previously making, the self-healing. We have Kwanzaa principles. Those are important principles for us to embrace and work among ourselves. Unity, self-determination, collective economics. These are the things that we're not speaking about. We're in many silos and we're doing a lot of good things. But we need to look at this holistically. We need to be all in the same room. That's why the Ghana conference is so important, even though it's limited to its extent in that more civil society should be involved. But we need Africa. We need the Africa Union. We need the sovereign states. We need the U.S. to have a strong reparations movement that's vibrant, and it is. We need the church to play its own role. We need civil society to play its role. We need to be looking at sustainable development. How do we create the type of wealth that is sustainable? And one final thing I'd like to say, which might be controversial, I think we really need to look at what's going on in Gaza, because that's a colony. And we were colonized in the Caribbean for a long while. And Africa was colonized after the Berlin Conference. And when you look at the folks that we have to negotiate with for reparations, you look at COVID, how they left us to die. We have no interest to them. So we have to be very careful in understanding who it is we're dealing with, how we're going to approach them, and how we come together as a collective to fight for reparations. I know I'd like to say a lot more. I know there are many other speakers. I'm at the airport. I'm open for questions, but that's all I wanted to say. And I must congratulate the coordinators of this event. We need to do this every 2 months, every 3 months. This is a living event. Reparations is life. It's not something you do part-time, because there's so much happening, so much the church is trying to do in terms of £100 million and tricking us. So much Lloyd's of London is trying to do. So much universities are trying to do. We have to hold them accountable, but we have to define the narrative. We have to define what we want as reparations from them. And we also need to be very focused on self-reparations, which is how we heal ourselves. Thank you.